For sure, them belts coming with me. They coming home with me. I'm telling you right now.
You can see it, but it's gonna be difficult. You take it to your home.
I'm taking them. And ain't nothing you gonna be able to do about it come fight
and
night.
I know Turki is in your corner,
I promise you.
But look, it's gonna be very difficult. He's gonna be so mad that day. Believe me.
Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez had said there wouldn't be any trash talk between them, but during the press conference things got tense fast, and they ended up in a fiery exchange of words.
We are true fighters. Yeah, true fighters. True fighters. True, yeah, of course. No, I'm not YouTuber fighters. Huh? Not YouTuber fighters. Yeah, of course.
They need to talk and talk about fight because they wanna say something. The people know we are great fighters. They wanna put a great fight.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I am sure in the end in the middle of...
Both fighters dropped all respect for each other and started mocking just like they do with any rival, and you can probably tell who kicked it off first.
I see you. I see you. You see I'm different.
I see you too.
You see I'm different than all the other ones.
No, I see you. No, you don't know different. You're nothing different.
I'm different.
Nothing different.
I'm different.
We'll see.
You're gonna see.
We'll see.
Hyped as the fight of the century, Alvarez shut down the idea that it would be a close match with American Crawford moving up from light middleweight. Alvarez had once brushed off the big fight, saying there was no benefit in beating someone who began at lightweight. When asked how a loss to two-time undisputed champ Crawford could affect his legendary record, the 34-year-old Mexican calmly said, "He's not going to beat me, don't worry, he's not going to beat me. I believe this fight will definitely go down in boxing history."
Not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. I think this fight is gonna be in the books of the history of boxing for sure. That's for sure.
He's a great fighter, but he's not Canelo. I have the experience, Alvarez said at the press conference. They always talk about my power, but I bring more than just that. This is going to be one of the top fights of my career. Alvarez, 34, maybe 3 years younger, but he turned pro at 15 and has fought 67 times with 11 world titles and 27 world title bouts to his name. Many see him as the one who might hand things over to Crawford. When asked again about the fight, Alvarez calmly said he's not going to beat me, don't worry, which made Crawford smile as he responded, "These belts are definitely coming home with me."
On the streets, you and Canelo, what would it look like?
Come on, man. Yeah, I know what I do. I ain't got to talk about it on the streets. I'm me against anybody. I ain't never gonna say another man gonna whoop me. So, you know what I mean? That's your answer right there.
I guess in Guadalajara, you think it'd be a little different on the streets if Terence came to town?
I think every city, every place is different, no? It's different. But we don't talking about the streets. We're talking about boxing, the beautiful sport of boxing. So that's different, way different than the street.
There may be 26 fights between them, but Crawford has a record most fighters only dream of, with 19 straight world title fights and 2 undisputed championships in different weight classes. He confidently said he'll become the first male boxer to be undisputed in 3 divisions, giving respectful credit to Clarissa Shields, who already did it in women's boxing. "I'm taking those belts, and there's nothing you can do about it come fight night," he said. "I'm not like the others, Canelo, who has won titles from 154 to 175 pounds." Fired back, "You don't look different. There's nothing special about you," calling himself a winner, and saying Crawford is no different than past opponents. "I'm different, you'll see," Crawford replied.
However I gotta fight, I'm gonna win. Simple as that. I'm not gonna let somebody else force me or tell me how to fight when I've been fighting my whole life. You know, I won't be running. You know, I could tell you that. But I will be, you know, doing a lot of touching.
Give me wrong. He's a great fighter, like I say, he's not Canelo.
Alvarez turned pro at just 15 in 2005, while Crawford began his career at 20 in 2008. Backed by Alalshikh, Crawford said, "This is the fight he's always wanted. I called out Canelo. He's the last big name from the era that came before us: Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, and Oscar de la Hoya. We both came up during that time, but he got to fight them. I never had those huge matchups. This is my big fight. This is my moment." Crawford hasn't fought since last August, when he defeated Israel Madrimov 30 for the WBA light middleweight title. Meanwhile, Canelo reclaimed his undisputed 168-pound title in May with a win over William Skull 32 in Riyadh.
I'm very excited, motivated, because this is all about. I want to make history, and I'm very excited for this fight. He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. I think this fight is gonna be in.
He's now headlining on Netflix at the Las Vegas Raiders' €1 billion, 6,500-seat stadium against Crawford, who firmly says there's no chance he loses to Canelo in or out of the ring. He said, "Come on man, you know what I do, I don't need to talk about it in the streets. Me against anyone, I'll never say another man can beat me. That's your answer right there." But Canelo responded, "We're not talking about the streets, we're talking about boxing, the beautiful sport of boxing."
Listen, however they rate me, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we gotta fight, and I'm gonna win the fight. It's simple as that.
Can I ask you about if there's any rematch clause with this fight with Canelo?
No, it's not.
Is that something you push for?
No, I didn't.
And there's any weight restrictions to the fight at all?
No, it's not.
After their short exchange, press conference host Todd Grisham asked both fighters about their mindset going into the big fight. Crawford said he's not thinking about what happens if it goes to the judges. Instead, he's focused on what he can control. "I can't worry about the judges, I just have to focus on what I can do, and that's going in there and winning." Clearly, he said, "Like I said before, any fighter can be knocked out. Canelo has a strong chin. He's tough and durable. We've seen him hurt a few times, but nothing major. Still under the right conditions, anyone can be stopped. I always show up in big moments. I've done it my entire career. This is my time, and I'm not letting Canelo take it away from me. Simple as that." With Crawford moving up 2 weight classes, Canelo knows just how big of a challenge his opponent is facing.
Fighters would like to put on a weight restriction to this type of fight. Why didn't you want to do that?
Because I want him at his best. I don't want no excuses. I don't want no, reasons why, he didn't feel good or anything. I want him at his best.
But the Mexican superstar has often come out on top even when he was the smaller fighter in the ring, and says size won't matter as he gets ready to face the undefeated 2-weight undisputed champ on September 13th. Canelo said, "I've been in his spot before, and I'm not focused on that. I'm just here to do my job, take everything seriously, and not worry about who's bigger or smaller. I always train for the best opponent possible. I'm a winner. I stay focused on winning, and that's exactly what I'm coming to do. My mindset is different, and I'm very thankful to Netflix, Turkey, and everyone involved in this fight, because for me it's all about making history, and I'm proud to be part of it."
You first thought this fight was a real possibility, that you started thinking about this fight actually happening?
Well, I started thinking about it, a couple of years ago when they started talking about Spence fighting Canelo. Then just, sizing him up, like, all right, how tall is he? How long his arms and things like that, just sizing him up like that and going to his fights and things like that.
As the fighters wrapped up their final words before the big showdown, both delivered messages to their fans. Canelo said, "They know I always come to fight, I always give my best, and I just want to thank them for all the support. I hope they'll be watching or in the arena cheering and celebrating the win with me." Crawford called on his supporters to show up in style as they travel from Omaha, Nebraska to Las Vegas, and promised to make history by taking down Canelo and adding another major milestone to his career.
I think Canelo's not the same fighter. His punch output's a lot less. What do you think, considering the last 12 months or so? Is he the same fighter he was maybe a few years ago?
I think he is. I just think he just wasn't up for the Skull fight, and I think different fighters bring different energies out of other fighters.
A lot of people are judging you on the Madrimov fight, saying you struggled moving up in weight. You're going further up in weight, and they're saying that's going to go against you based on the Madrimov fight. How do you kind of...
"I just tell them suit up," he said. "We're bringing more jewelry home, and it's going to be a big day for boxing. History is on the line." Terence Crawford is set to become the first male boxer to be undisputed in 3 different weight classes, and I truly believe that the fight will take place at the Las Vegas Raiders Allegiant Stadium, which seats 65,000 fans. It will also be the first event promoted by UFC President Dana White's new boxing venture in partnership with Saudi Arabia's Turki Alalshikh, a deal that nearly fell apart but was brought back to life in recent weeks.
Oscar De La Hoya wastes my time with this question.
Yeah, we saw Oscar De La Hoya trying to say that the fight was going to take place maybe in the daytime.
Yeah, this is what I want from you, to say his name. I decide with Dana White to have a breakfast in MGM at 10 a.m. inshallah. Then we will go to the arena to have the fights.
Alalshikh was seated at the main table while Dana White was not present. The press conference kicked off with opening remarks from His Excellency Turki Alalshikh, who shared that he had dinner with both fighters on Thursday night. But now that the formalities are over, the real preparation for the fight begins. I want to thank these two legends, great fighters. In the end it all came together, thanks to God, he said. Before midnight we had dinner together, and that was it. They were respectful and professional in front of me, but after midnight the formality ended, and now the real fight build-up begins.
That we will go dinner to Carbon, and in the night we will watch Conjuring because it will launch in September. Oscar De La Hoya wastes my time with this question. Of course, this is in the peak. This is the boxing, the sport #1 in the world. This is Canelo and Crawford.
The chairman of the General Entertainment Authority has played a major role in driving Saudi Arabia's massive investment in boxing over the past 18 months, but rarely takes a seat next to fighters at public events. In his opening remarks, Alalshikh laid out his expectations for two of the greatest fighters of their era, rejecting boring matchups and demanding a face-breaking showdown. The press tour, which includes stops in Las Vegas and New York, kicked off with all media questions directed at Alalshikh before he exited the stage. It was nearly 25 minutes before either fighter had a chance to speak. Saudi Arabia has poured major funds into sports as part of a national push to diversify its income, but still faces criticism for using sports as a way to distract from its human rights record. Now with plans for a new series of blockbuster fights on Netflix and a fresh promotional brand backed by Alalshikh, Saudi involvement in boxing looks set to continue growing.
To say his name. I decided with Dana White to have a breakfast in MGM at 10 a.m. inshallah. Then we will go to the arena to have the fights quick, and after that we will go dinner to Carbon, and in the night we will watch Conjuring because it will launch in September. You waste. Oscar.
I want to speak to you about some of Turki's comments. He said he doesn't want Tom and Jerry, people running away in the ring. What did you make of that?
I agree with that. You know, people want to see a good fight. And I agree with that.
Do you think
Turki Alalshikh, because you know, people come and spend money to see a great fight, and if the other fighter come and run all the night and don't make a good fight, it's deceptional.
Yes, Turki Alalshikh, also known as His Excellency, is the key figure behind Saudi Arabia's rise in professional boxing, using his influence and financial backing to turn the kingdom into a major player in the sport. I hate Tom and Jerry style boxing, Alalshikh said, referencing the cartoon while criticizing fighters who avoid action and run from opponents. I'm confident Alvarez and Crawford will give me what I want, smashing face and blood. This is real boxing. He didn't go into detail, but his message was clear. Both fighters are expected to deliver an intense fight despite recent performances. Terence Crawford faced off with Canelo Alvarez at a press conference in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia ahead of their super middleweight title bout this September. Alvarez is coming off a flat unanimous decision win over William Skull in May, where fans booed as Skull mostly avoided engagement, and Alvarez didn't push hard to chase him down. That fight was also the first in Alvarez's 5-fight deal with the Saudis.
You know, I waste my time with this question. Of course, this is in the peak. This is the boxing, the sport #1 in the world. This is Canelo and Crawford.
All right, on the left-hand side here.
You think he saw your fight with Skull and potentially came to the conclusion?
And we talk after about that, and it's very sad. But you know, it is what it is.
I know.
I hope not. Because we expect a great fight, the fight of the century, right? So I hope not.
Crawford hasn't been in the ring since August 2024, and that fight was memorable too. He scored a unanimous decision win over Israil Madrimov, but like Alvarez, he was met with boos during a bout that featured no knockdowns. Alalshikh hinted he didn't want a full-size 12x12 ring to help guarantee more action, but still thought it was a good move to have dinner with Alvarez and Crawford the night before the press conference. We talked yesterday, and they're professionals, Alalshikh said later on, but I think from last night they understand what's expected of them. Still, neither Alvarez nor Crawford seemed too concerned about Alalshikh's comments when it comes time to fight at Allegiant Stadium, the home of the Las Vegas Raiders.
You heard His Excellency saying no more Tom and Jerry, no more running, but you're moving up 2 weight classes. It's not going to be smart for you to stand there and hammer it out with this guy. So how do you kind of balance that, not running, but being elusive in fighting Canelo?
However I gotta fight, I'm gonna win. Simple as that. I'm not gonna let somebody else force me or tell me how to fight. And when I've been fighting my whole life, you know, I won't be running.
Crawford 37 is jumping up 2 weight classes a full 14 pounds to face Alvarez at super middleweight. Going toe-to-toe with Alvarez could excite fans and deliver the kind of fight Alalshikh is hoping for, but Crawford made it clear he won't be told how to fight. I'm not going to let anyone force or tell me how to fight, he said. I've been doing this my whole life. I won't be running, that's for sure, but I'll be doing a lot of touching to be fair. Before the Madrimov fight, Crawford had won 11 straight by knockout. Alvarez 34 said this fight will go down in boxing history. But if we look at his recent bout with Skull, it wasn't a great performance. Alvarez admitted it was a bad fight, but we got the win, and that's what matters.
I called Canelo out because, like I said, he the last great fighter amongst the era that surpassed us. You know, the Floyd, the Pacquiao, the De La Hoya. We both came up in that era, and he was right there with those fighters, and he got the chance to fight the Miguel Cottos, the Floyd Mayweathers, and, you know, the Kovalevs and Triple Gs, and I wasn't able to get those.
If Alvarez had been paying attention during dinner or at the press conference, he'd know that just winning isn't enough for Alalshikh, or for most boxing fans either.
Your Excellency, Tazzy Brown from AustralianFightHot.com. First of all, congratulations for everything you've done for boxing since you've come into the game. You've gave us many great fights, and you continue with Your Excellency to keep giving us greater fights. You're a boxing historian yourself. Do you think this fight resembles Marvin Hagler Sugar admitted in the 80s? The fact that Canelo and Terence Crawford are the 2 great pound-for-pound legends, both first ballot Hall of Famers in the future.
Alvarez hasn't scored a knockout since 2021 when he stopped Caleb Plant in the 11th round. Maybe that's something His Excellency will bring up over another dinner with Alvarez and Crawford. Shifting back to boxing, the press conference wrapped up with a traditional face-off, and all eyes turned to the 2 men preparing to fight for the undisputed super middleweight crown on September 13th in Las Vegas, marking the first time Alvarez and Crawford spoke publicly at a press event since their bout was announced.
Terence cannot do.
No, don't get me wrong. He's a great fighter, like I say, he's not Canelo. Obviously, I'm been in this situation for a long time, and I have the experience. They only focus on my power, but I have more than that, and I think this fight is gonna be one of my best fights.
Dramatic music played as the fighters faced off, with Alvarez eventually being the first to look away during the intense but emotionless stare-down. Back in May 2012, retired 3-weight world champion Shane Mosley fought Alvarez at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, but came up short in his bid to win the WBC super welterweight title. In a recent interview with Boxing Social, Mosley was asked if he thinks Crawford can beat Canelo, especially considering Crawford is moving up 2 weight classes to take the fight. Mosley said, "No, I can't see it. I just can't, because Canelo has skills too. It's not like he doesn't have what Crawford has." He added, "If they were both at 154 and in their prime, maybe, but now with Canelo at 168, I just don't think Crawford has a real shot."
I think Canelo's too big for Crawford. I think that the reason why, if Crawford was a mover like the rest of the fight, then maybe he could have a good chance with Canelo. But I think that being that Crawford is a fighter, that's gonna be his problem. He's a fighter. He wants to fight, and he's gonna move a little bit, but his heart is not in moving. So he's gonna have to sit there and fight with Canelo. And if you sit there and fight with Canelo, and he's that much bigger than you, then I don't know.
Canelo has established himself as a top force at super middleweight since moving up from middleweight in 2018, with wins over names like Gennady Golovkin, Jermall Charlo, and Jamie Munguia. A win for Crawford would make the undefeated 37-year-old the first male boxer in history to become undisputed in 3 different weight classes. That's all for now. For the latest updates, highlights, and big moments in boxing, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications so you never miss out on content like this. See you next time.